What's happening between Israel and Iran is not just news. It may be prophecy unfolding right before our eyes. What the Bible predicted about Iran 2,500 years ago in Ezekiel 38. The question is not whether the war is coming. The question is whether it has already begun. The countdown to the end may have already started. But you won't believe how amazing this is. The beginning of Ezekiel 38 is already fulfilled. Read this with me. Ezekiel 38:7. In the future, you will invade a land that has recovered from war, whose people were gathered from many nations to the mountains of Israel, which had long been desolate. What do you think this is talking about? What nation was destroyed by war and ceased to be a nation, and those people were scattered across the world? And what nation was formed by all those peoples coming back? Something incredible happened in the history of the world. In 1948, the nation of Israel was born. A people with no army, no king, almost annihilated in the Holocaust, became a nation. This was a fulfillment of Isaiah 66:8. Can a country be born in a day, or a nation be brought forth in a moment? Yet Zion is in labor, and it gives birth to her children. As God predicted, Israel was destroyed and scattered across the world. Even when Jesus was here, Israel was controlled by the Roman Empire. The Jews didn't have a nation for 2,000 years, but after the Jewish Holocaust, the UN gave Israel the land of Palestine, which was desolate and awful. But millions of Jews gathered from many nations to call that place home. Let me continue reading. Gathered from many nations to the mountains of Israel, which had long been desolate. They had been brought out from the nations, and now all of them live in safety. This prophecy has already been fulfilled. Now this is the prophecy about Iran. Verse 9. You and all your troops and the many nations with you will go up, advancing like a storm. You will be like a cloud covering the land. This is what the sovereign Lord says. On that day, thoughts will come into your mind, and you will devise an evil scheme. You will say, I will invade a land of unwalled villages. I will attack a peaceful and unsuspecting people, all of them living without walls and without gates and bars. I will plunder and loot and turn my hand against the resettled ruins and the people gathered from the nations, rich in livestock and goods, living at the center of the land. This is describing Iran and Israel. Israel was very poor in 1948, barely a nation with barely a Hebrew language. But they've transformed that desolate land with technology, becoming one of the richest nations in the world. They mostly live without gates and walls, and they've resettled all the ruins, just like the Bible predicted. Do you see how precise the Bible predictions are? Currently, the leaders of Iran are calling for the complete destruction of Israel. They're saying Allah wants the genocide of the Jews. The former president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, said the Zionist regime must be wiped off from the map. Supreme leader of Iran says this will prepare the way for the Mahdi, the Islamic Messiah. Iran has funded the terrorist groups that surround Israel. Currently, the Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Palestine, Gaza Shiite militias in Iraq and Syria, the Houthis in Yemen, they're all funded by Iran's oil. I'm not saying Iran is the enemy or they're evil. Millions of Muslims in Iran are turning to Jesus right now as they see him in dreams and visions. Iran has the fastest growing underground church in the world, and for every church they destroy, 10 more rise in its place. It's insane. And the Bible predicts that Iran will attack Israel. I'm not saying Israel is all innocent or they're the good guys. All I'm saying is what the Bible predicted is coming true. But it's not just Iran. Verse 2-5 says that it's going to be an alliance of nations, of Russia, Iran, Libya, and Sudan. Why are they joining forces? Have you seen what Israel did in the past 5 days? The IDF, Israeli Defensive Forces, are completely destroying Iran's military, while Iran is desperately attacking civilian targets because they don't know how to attack the IDF. So yeah, eventually Iran is going to ask for help. They can't do it alone against Israel. Now, I don't think Russia is involved, besides giving them weapons. Yeah, I don't think Russia is involved yet. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Now, let me tell you what's going to happen next, according to Bible prophecy. Verse 19 says, "At that time there shall be a great earthquake in the land of Israel." I don't know if this is predicting a natural disaster or a bomb so big it's like a giant earthquake, but it's singular. Not many earthquakes, but a single moment of shaking, and it's going to be cataclysmic. Verse 21 says, "Every man's sword will be against his brother." This implies there's going to be such chaos and confusion that Russians will attack Persians against Libyans versus their own side. Verse 22, "I will execute judgment on him with plague and bloodshed. I will pour down pourds of rain, hailstones, burning sulfur on him and on his troops and on the many nations with him." This sounds like missiles raining from the sky. The prophecy continues on the next chapter. Verse 3, "I will strike your bow from your left hand and make your arrows drop from your right hand." I have no idea what that means. If you have an idea, comment below. Verse 4, "On the mountains of Israel you will fall, you and all your troops and the nations with you. I will give you guys food to all kinds of carrion birds and to the wild animals. You will fall in the open field, for I have spoken, declares the sovereign Lord." Verse 6 indicates that Russia will be hit by missiles on the coast. Verse 9 says that so many soldiers will die that Israel will use the enemy's weapons as fuel. There will be so much leftover artillery, tanks, oil, supplies. It will supply 7 years worth of fuel and energy. Or you can interpret this as there will be fires that will burn for 7 years. What kind of fire burns for 7 years? Chemical? Nuclear? What could ruin the environment for 7 years? How bad is the fallout? Check out verse 12. "For 7 months the Israelites will be burying them in order to cleanse the land." The effects of war will be so bad, it'll take 7 months to clean the environment. And the rest of this chapter goes on to say that God will do all this on purpose to show the world that He did it, and He shall receive the glory and the fear among the nations. There's more to this. The prediction ends by saying that many Jews will become Christians as God pours out His Spirit on them. So guys, isn't this exciting? Prophecy is unfolding right before our eyes. When you hear on the news that Russia, Turkey, and others will be joining Iran against Israel, you're not just watching the news, you're watching prophecy unfold. I know I keep saying end times, but in fact, this is the beginning of history when Jesus returns, the return of the King. And this old world will pass away, and behold, the new shall come. Maranatha, come Lord Jesus. If you want to keep up with the latest prophetic news, subscribe to Pastor Jason Answers and check out these other videos to make Christians stronger. If you want to advance God's kingdom through this ministry, we're now on Patreon. Click the link in the description to become a member.